show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What is up, Nickel City Mafia? Welcome to Wednesday Night Bills Tailgate Show. I mean, look at this, guys. Look at this. We have a special visitor in Buffalo,
Are you
New
kidding
York.
me?
Sean Kula from the Red, White, and Bills.
Hey, Sean, there might be a beer in that fridge.
Get a beer. Get a beer.
Oh, there is not.
Yes.
Actually, we're empty.
You have squirts.
Oh, boy.
Squirt is pretty good.
I don't know
Squirt
what
is pretty
version
good.
of you guys are going to get. I know
gonna
you've
do a
been out.
squirt.
So, Jake, tell us about, Sean got there today. Tell us about your food adventures, and then we'll get into the pregame show sometime. But let's talk about these food adventures at first. Good to see you, Sean.
Yeah, the
Going
food
great.
adventures, I'll tell you what, the food adventure went great at first. So the whole plan going into this originally was to go to Wing Nuts. So I was going to pick Sean up at the train station. We were going to go right from there to Wing Nuts. Only problem is I totally forgot that Wing Nuts location is takeout only. So instead of going to Wing Nuts, we called an audible. And he was always talking about doing the Brett says, is this a sober show? For now, yes, Brett. For now it is. But, in a little bit, maybe I'll crank open some bourbon or whatever. We'll see how that goes. So anyways, we ended up going to Elmo's, which is great because Sean was already talking about potentially trying that double dipped wing. So it was a perfect fit. Now, Mike, I did tell Sean to go with the extra saucy. And in this case, because he's not a spicy guy, they're medium, which I don't think is necessarily the spiciest, but it kind of shined through a little bit today. So we did a medium barbecue double dipped wing. He also did have the beef on weck, which was fantastic. So that was good. They did not give the au jus with it, though. That was the only miss there, which you got to have the au jus. That little bit of juice, that makes a big difference. And he's not a horseradish guy either, so we didn't really get the full experience with that, I don't think. So we'll have to make up for that tomorrow at Barbill. But overall, I think Elmo's did their due diligence. I just think next time for Sean specifically, I'll say even for me, there's a little bit of heat on those wings today, but they were very good.
I trusted Jake because when I went to Barbill last time, everything was good. And then he's like, nah, the medium's not bad. Get the medium. And I was going to get my old double dip with barbecue.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I got to get medium. And the lady's like, oh, we're not Duff's. Our medium's not as hot as Duff's. You're fine. You should be fine. Jake bit into the first wing. He goes,
Some heat on that.
He goes, yeah, there's some heat on that bite. And I was like,
and if I'm saying that, because I'm usually pretty good with that,
But the taste, the flavor, fantastic. I started with Barbill, which was, to Jake, the best one. And I still was very pleasantly surprised at how good these wings were, too. The beef on weck was good. I thought their meat was better than Barbill's meat. But the bun at Barbill, and it had they had the jus there, too. So the bun, so it was like if you could put them both together, I think it would have been probably a perfect mix. But, I don't know. It seemed like it was I don't know how to explain it. It seemed like it was a different cut of meat, but it probably wasn't. It was like the Barbill beef was like thin, like real
this
thin.
Is thicker.
This was like a thicker, type of bite, but
definitely a lot more filling too.
Very good. And then there's another wing fiasco we just tried to go on just now.
We're trying to do at least 3 wing places. That was the goal when he came up here. So we tried to go to Gabriel's Gate, and I thought it was going to be one of two things. It was either going to be totally dead or it was going to be like slammed. Unfortunately, it was slammed. So we get in there, and it's a small place already as it is. And the guys ahead of us, they had like a 45 to an hour wait. And then they said another guy came in after them and had left, and they told him an hour. So realistically for us, it was going to be probably around that same time. So unfortunately, not able to go to Gabe's Gate. Then I type in 911 Tavern, Mike, one of my other top 5 places. They close at 8:30 on Wednesdays. Son of a gun. So then I'm like, all right, listen, we got to get you some wings somewhere. So he said, what about Duff's? And I'm like, I don't, not knocking Duff's. Duff's is good. It's home of the, it's like right after Anchor Bar. They kind of perfected the buffalo wing after that, right? But now it's a little commercialized and there's better places to go. So I said, all right, we'll do Duff's. It's still a good wing. It's better than any wing you're going to have in Utica. So on our way there, I'm like, I should probably call just to make sure. I call, lo and behold, they close at 9 o'clock. We would have gotten there at like 8:30. Didn't want to be those guys. So instead, we settled with Dairy Queen. So, yeah.
We'll get Barbell tomorrow with Big Al.
We are doing Barbell tomorrow, actually. Dad, thank you for joining. He says, what do you think about the man cave, Sean?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's extraordinary,
Thanks, man.
to say the least. And Jake's got this awesome second monitor with the roster of the Bucks. And I just wanted to point out, Mike, I know we're not into it yet. Do you remember a Servosia, Dennis Servosia that we were talking about pre-draft, the linebacker from Pitt?
Talk about a hard hitter.
And we were like, yeah, he was my guy that we picked. And
okay. Oh, yes.
And you had Cody Mock. So Cody Mock's on this team.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Servosia is on this team. And then Sean Tucker from Syracuse is on this team. So there's a lot of faces that we were looking at in the draft that hopefully don't hurt us when we play. But
they got a 6th-round rookie starting at their slot receiver position too, and Trey Palmer. So that'll be very interesting. But Mike, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah,
I feel like we've been talking nonstop here. So
that's okay. I expected it. You guys are excited. It's exciting to have Sean out there. We've been, prepping for this the last couple of weeks. Well, we've heard about it quite some time ago. But I will say this on the beef on weck. I've never been a horseradish guy either, so I like it without the horseradish. But one of my favorite places is Steve's Pig and Ox.
that's a good spot.
It's a little bit older, and last time I went, they need to do a little upkeep at that facility, but love that there. I thought they were on par with the Barbell for me at least. It's a bummer about the wings for sure. But Sean, was that your first time having beef on weck?
No, I had a Barbell last time.
Oh, the last time you were in town.
I got it to go, so it was cold. It was cold when I had it, so I told Jake
that's where you went.
I want to have it first this time to see what it's like. And like I said, it was like if you could put them both together, it would have been a perfect sandwich. And I was surprised it didn't have the jus sauce, and I was like, it had a pickle. The pickle was good. The fries were good. But I was
sad for you.
I was like, where's the juice? Where's the juice? But it was tasty, and appreciate Jake for treating me to that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We got some good
more to come, baby. You're gonna get the top tier tomorrow in Barbell.
Got
so
some good
it doesn't
pizza.
matter.
Nice.
We're gonna, everything is good. The train ride was good. It left a little bit late. So it was only like 15 minutes. So it was supposed to leave at 11:50 and went at 12, a little bit after 12. But yeah, it was good. I used to ride the train all the time. They seem like they got more space now.
Amtrak's come a long way, man.
Yeah, they got more space, and then they had this thing where they put not just a footrest, but a leg rest as well.
That's nice.
So you're able to put your legs out straight, and then it holds your legs up, and so it was a nice, comfortable ride. And I just watched videos on my phone the whole time, and then I was here. I got some candy from a vending machine, waiting for Jake, and then the ride began.
Best part was, Mike, so he got to meet little MVP, and she was wearing her Zubas when he walked in. So that was great. It was a good greeting for him, just to let him know, like, hey, she knows what's up. She's got that Bills pride in her,
I love it. So this is going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm glad that you guys are finally together. We've known each other for a while. Yeah. I've met Jake in person one time, and now it's good that Sean gets to meet you. So too bad Brett wasn't able to hook up with you when he was in town not that long ago, but we'll get there. And one of these days we'll get together, all of us. So good stuff going on.
Brett wants to join and ask a question.
Did you see both Knox and Morris will be out tomorrow? Yep, Trek Reviewer. Definitely saw that already. And
I'm suiting up at tight end 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, that's why he actually came into Buffalo, by the way. They called him in. They said, you're in.
Coming out of retirement.
So hello to everyone out there. Appreciate you guys. Tom out there, glad to see you. Always supporting us. Big Al, of course. Was Big Al, did you get to meet Big Al, Sean?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow.
Hey, Dad, by the way, the offer extends to, because we're going to be going. So Mike, he was asking, he's like, Tim Hortons. Timmy Hose is great. Good for coffee, great spot. Obviously, great breakfast spot. You got to go get something in a pinch. Beautiful.
Take him to Paulus.
Taking him to Paulus.
Yes. Got to go to Paulus. Good stuff. I mean,
I'm a good donut guy.
There's some crazy donuts they make, so you're gonna love it, man.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
gonna love it.
It's filling. It's like a full-on meal.
Oh yeah, you won't be hungry. You'll be wanting. You'll be like, Jake, is there a gym around that I can go to real quick, burn off some calories?
Yeah, we're gonna have to go to the gym tomorrow morning beforehand.
Oh yeah, for sure. Maybe we'll take you to actually the place I do work out at. It's called STA. and shout out to them because they're awesome. They actually trained Isaiah Hodgins, so that's cool. He has some connections there. Tyrod Taylor does. A lot of Bills players, actually. A lot of former Bills players, unfortunately. But right over there, too. I mean, it's great because East Aurora is not too far, so we can go to the gym, and then we can hit barbell right after. Boom, right down the street.
Oh, man, dude.
Barbell just sounds
so
like a gym,
we got to
too.
earn it, though, first, you know? We can hit Paula's, and Paula's not far either. So it's Paula's, gym, barbell. Boom.
Paula's would be that power food in the morning. Get that those sugars and the complex.
That's our pre-workout. That's our pre-workout.
Get ready to go.
Yeah.
Sean, I know you've went to the barbell before, but you're going to get the VIP treatment. Jake has VIP connections. The barbell's a small place, but in the back, there's a special room, and Jake gets to go back there.
Is there really?
Yeah, there's a big table in the back right in front of this big TV.
Gotta keep it a secret, but Jake will get you the VIP. Hey guys, so let's talk a little bit. Let's get into this again. We'll get into the channel as well. But the weather is looking pretty good. I mean, this feels like tomorrow a kickoff. There's some rain in the area. I think you had some rain today and maybe early tomorrow. But by kickoff, we're talking upper 60s tomorrow. The Bucs are going to feel right at home. So weather is not going to be an issue. No rain whatsoever. How is it? Did you have a little rain today? Is it in the 60s?
It was just sprinkling a little bit, but not too bad. And yeah, as far as the temp goes, I mean, this is unseasonably warm. So much so that like I have these allergies that I think are just acting up because I'm all stuffed up right now. My head's all weird. It's like it's supposed to be 30 degrees right now and potentially snowing, but it's actually 60 degrees. So my body doesn't even know what to do right now. This is so weird, but I will take it. And you know what? I'll say this. I mean, based on how the Bills have actually played in bad weather, actually happy that it's not going to be a bad weather game tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah, same here. So some folks are asking, and the winds aren't going to be, there's like 10 to 18 mile an hour winds. So it's a perfect game for football. I like this type of game. I don't like weather being a part of it, just like you said, Jake. But let me just give somebody who's been asking. So Bills news, Dawson Knox is out with a wrist injury. I think he had surgery, and his time to return is unknown. They haven't put that out there yet. Quentin Morris out, ankle. He'll be out tomorrow. And Baylor Spectrum with a hamstring has been ruled out. Ed Oliver with a toe is listed as questionable, Matt Chatter. So he did he did log some limited practice this week, or actually Wednesday, today. So who knows? Hopefully he's out there because this is a huge, huge game. And if you forgot, I hope you haven't, it's a Thursday night football game tomorrow night, 8:15 on Prime Video at Highmark Stadium. So tune in. Big game. I feel like this is a must-win game. I saw Thurman Thomas put that out there. This is a must-win game.
Do you know who the legend of the game is, Mike?
Is it Thurman?
No, Andre Reed.
Oh, nice.
He is carrying the flag tomorrow. So I feel like I got to say something. Like, we're right by the tunnel.
Dude.
So there's a chance that we connect. We make some eye contact. Be like, I remember you. You interviewed me.
Oh, he definitely would remember you, Josh Allen's doppelganger. Yep, for sure. Just say that, he'll know.
That would be awesome.
He'll probably pretend like he doesn't know you anymore. Just be like,
no, I think Andre. No, dude, me and Andre had a connection. That was a great interview. It was good. I'll tell you what. You know what the best part was, too? He was so open to just staying on with us. We asked him, we're like, hey, it's Memorial Day. We know you have stuff probably going on, and he's like, no, I'm good. Take as much time as you need, guys. So just a class act. But yes, legend of the game tomorrow, Andre Reed.
Dude, that's amazing. I hope you do get some eye contact connection because he'll definitely remember you. Let's see here. We got some folks out there. Look at Chris coming in hot right now. He's saying,
I love it.
They're playing bad in all weather.
Hey, he deserves to chirp right now. It's all good.
He does.
Yep.
You know, how sad was it? And again, this is our fault, guys. There's 4 Buffalo Bill reps on the AFC East Summit show, and none of us could make it to the show last night. So, they took their shots and they hit heavy last night. So, but it was entertaining. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But let's see here. Fun. Yeah. So Big Al coming in. So make sure you guys make a sign for the Nickel City Mafia.
Well, that's good. I was going to ask. We're probably gonna we're close.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do at Red, White, and Bills at Nickel City Mafia, and we're gonna do a thing. I think I'm gonna do something like. I got to say something about Reed Ferguson, I feel like, too, because I want to interview him.
We're so close to...
We're right there.
Yeah.
We're right by the tunnel.
Yeah, you could probably see us on TV, too. I'll be wearing a Dawkins jersey. He's wearing his Reed jersey. And we're in row 5 of row 1 of 122 from the tunnel, so we're like 5 rows back from the front of the front row. So you could probably see us, and if we got a nice sign, we might make it on TV. If it attracts people, we should put something messed up on the sign too, so everyone's like, "What the heck did they say on there?"
That's right.
And then they'll put us on TV, and we'll be like, "Woo!"
Dude, I should
have. And Go Bills podcast. Amen, brother. Hell yeah. Are you kidding me?
I should have sent that sign to you that someone made for me. It has the Nickel City Mafia logo, man. That I should have thought about that. But that's
Brett,
awesome.
What was your question, by the way? Brett had a question he wanted to ask Sean. I don't know what it was. It was early on. He was saying he wanted to ask him a question. Put that in the chat when you have a chance.
Yeah, put that in the chat, sir. So listen, if you're new to the channel, please like, comment, and drop a nickel on a subscribe button. We appreciate it. Get on over to Red, White, and Bills and subscribe on his channel as well. And of course, all our good friends out here, Brett from the Go Bills podcast as well. So let's get into this, guys. And now that I have 2 of you, I'm going to ask one of you to break down what the Bucs bring on offense, and one of you to break down the defensive side of things. So I think I'm going to start it off with Sean, because he's been talking a lot about these 2 big physical receivers that the Bills are going to be facing. So, Sean, let me throw it to you and kind of break it down. What do the Bucs bring on offense, and what kind of problems they're going to present for this Bills defense tomorrow night?
Well, first, Brett said Baker Mayfield eats wings with ranch dressing. Careful, Brett, because Mike eats wings with ranch dressing.
Oh, that's good.
So
fake news.
So be careful who you're disrespecting. But no, like you said it, Mike. They bring physicality. They bring great hands, powerful receivers. Mike Evans. I mean, I was just telling Jake before the show, I was like, I'm scared. I'm very scared to watch this game because, I mean, they can make plays, sure, but we saw what happened with the Patriots receivers who, again, no disrespect to the Patriots, but they're not big name players like Mike Evans, and they were eating up alive our secondary. So when you got a guy like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, it really makes you worry, like, are they going to be able to be physical enough to make enough plays to stop them from – because if we don't get pressure, especially up front, it's going to be even worse for the secondary. So if we have a repeat performance of last week, the game could get ugly real fast, and Mike Evans could have a 10-plus catch day for over 150 yards and a couple touchdowns. And expect them, if they get in the red zone, you could do the same thing with Evans or even their tight end Cade Otton, because the Patriots ran the same play the Giants did to win the game. The Giants lost the game doing that play. The Patriots redid the same exact play and they won. So keep a lookout for that kind of play where they match up a big, tall receiver or tight end on a small corner and just go streak in the end zone and throw it up in the air. So it's going to be a tough assignment for, they're 3-3, but they can hang with any team. And, like we saw last week, any given Sunday. So we're going to have to scheme up something on defense and get a lot of pressure up front to minimize Mike Evans and Chris Godwin for sure.
Yeah. Mike, you are on mute right now.
I always like to test you guys.
Us.
Mike Evans is a 6'5" receiver.
Yeah.
Huge receiver. And even who else they got there? Godwin. He's 6'1". So huge task. I mean, we saw how these big receivers did against us with Cincinnati last year. So it scares the heck out of me, especially how the corners have been playing. Jake, what else you want to share about that offense of the Buccaneers?
Yeah, I mean, they got a kid, Cade Otton, too, their tight end. He's a big, tall target, too. They got some good backs. I know they were talking Rachaad White. Maybe he's not the answer. Maybe that's not who they were hoping, to really have as their featured back anymore. But, I still believe in the kid. I still think he can get the job done. And we've been gashed in the middle, specifically with our run game, with opposing teams' run game and our defensive run game. We just haven't been great there. So the team is certainly missing Matt Milano a little bit there, but I think that has more to do with just kind of having a true one tech that can cause and wreak havoc in the middle there.
Mike, if I can read that stat that I showed you yesterday, I think it was yesterday about Matt Milano. I know it could, we agreed it could be a little bit skewed, but it's just interesting to hear.
Yeah.
So it says the Bills defense has taken a huge step back on passes over the middle of the field. With Milano on the field, teams were 24 for 39 with 0 touchdowns, 5 picks, a 50% success rate, and a 38.2 pressure rate with an average time to throw of 2.84 when attacking the middle of the field. Since he's been injured, they are 23 for 29 with 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, 72% success rate, and a 24% pressure rate with an average time to throw of 2.39. So, again, you did mention like we're also missing Trey White and Daquan Jones, but it's just seeing something like that, we have issues, and I don't think it's going to be fixed this week because this has been happening since he's been injured. So as good as Bernard's been playing, he's been outstanding, and then Dorian Williams is learning. He's a rookie. We still have issues, and we're not getting pressure, and the middle of the field has been a problem. And even though Milano's not 6'5" like Edmonds was, he was a problem in the middle of the field.
He's a menace. And
him being there was able to cause more plays for secondary, even when Trey White was healthy. And I think it's a cause for concern, especially against a team like this. I think they're going to be able to try to exploit that, unfortunately. And hopefully our coaching staff understands this problem, and we can mitigate all that for happening.
You know who our top-rated PFF linebacker is? Tyrell Dotson.
Is it really?
He's the savior, man.
This is including Matt Milano, or is this without Matt Milano?
No. This is just this
year.
I
was going to say, what is his rating?
Let me give it to you here in a second.
I got to say, I don't think he's really done anything bad.
Were you saying for that game or for the season?
No, for the season, his overall rating. But mind you, it's a small sample rate.
Yeah, he played a lot.
It's a small sample rate. But he replaced Dorian last week again. I feel like for the second time. And now I'm like, who's going to start? Is it going to be Dotson this time around? Is it going to be Dorian?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm getting the feeling that we might see Dotson start this week. But
good point.
Jake, tell me what you see our defense. How are we going to go? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I would say the only reason why I don't think Tyrell Dotson would start is because Dorian is better in coverage. Tyrell is a liability in coverage, and you have these big guys, these big targets. I mentioned Cade Otton being one of those guys too. He's the tight end. And then you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin in the slot, Trey Palmer in the slot too, who's a 6th-round rookie. He's been playing pretty well too. I feel like for that reason alone, Dorian should be the guy over Tyrell Dotson.
Yeah, I wish Cam Lewis was active. I don't know if he's still hurt because track reviewer, we need Cam out there. We need him. I'm going to go to the channel real quick, but when I come back, I want to talk about what you guys think the defense of the Bills has to do to kind of mitigate some of what the Bucs are bringing. So
this is, by the way, too, very good point here by track reviewer Eli Anku. He just signed with the Bills practice squad. Released from the Falcons, we picked him up immediately. Sounds like he's really happy to be back in Buffalo, and this is a guy that's played in some games too, so good depth piece.
Yeah, so,
Matt Chatter,
there we go.
Basement's awesome. It's incredible, actually. I wish you could see the whole thing, but
over on the other side, it's like even better. I might need to change the setup, but this is like my office space. That's the problem.
Yeah, they got a beautiful, beautiful home, beautiful property.
Thanks, brother.
It's just I was blown away being here, especially coming down the man cave, and it's what you would want. He's got a rival at the end of his street. He's got a nice man cave in his garage that he's going to be.
I think it's a former player.
Him and Jake
too.
are competing for best man cave, but
I think the guy at the end of the street is a former Bills player.
Yeah, everything's been they've been so him and his wife Riley, they've been so nice, and his little daughter's so cute, and she was running around, and we walked upstairs while he was giving me a house tour, and then when we were going down the stairs, she sat down on the stairs on her butt and then just plopped down each step like she was sliding down the steps and just walked away, and that's how I just picture my son doing that too. So it was nice and great time.
So let me ask you, Jake, was MVP friendly to Sean, or is she kind of afraid of strangers?
No, she was super friendly, which, I mean, maybe that's a little concerning, but no, I think she's so used to a bunch of dudes coming over just because, like, I have the guys over all the time for football games, so she's, like, used to that now. So everyone's her uncle, basically, which is kind of cool. So it's just normal for her, and she was like, excited and shy at the same time, so, yeah.
Let's see here. How did Jake get the cardboard cutout of himself?
I love that, man. Yeah. By the way, I saw your comment. It's not a Josh Reed jersey. I wish I had that jersey. That would be sweet. It's a Reed Ferguson jersey. So I will be rocking that tomorrow at the game.
All right.
Like our buddy Cody Mock is the only right guard on the team. He has nobody behind him. So
it's crazy.
I was looking him up. His PFF grades aren't that great right now, but definitely a guy we talked about.
We love Cody Mock
pre-draft, yeah, for sure. So it's gonna be fun to see a couple guys that we actually talked about in pre-draft.
You always mention that we want to keep up with these guys.
Yeah.
Now we get to watch two of them, and then Sean Tucker. We talked about him a little bit, but he was a Syracuse guy that I always liked. So we were joking around upstairs. I was like, watch, the Rashad White gets hurt, and then Tucker takes over. He gets like 5 touchdowns and like 250 rushing yards, and just he blows up all of a sudden. I'm like, that would happen.
Well, remember another guy we were following was Andre Osavas from Cincinnati, right? And I said,
he caught a
touchdown. How crazy is it that he has a touchdown and Kincaid does not have one yet?
Unbelievable.
Crazy. Yeah. Now he's only got like 3 catches, Osavas that is, but one of them was for a touchdown.
Hey, we'll take it.
Crazy. All right, guys, I think we're caught up there. So, yeah, Brett, thanks. I'll try to enunciate how I'm saying Bucks. I don't know. I don't know what it sounds like, but all right, let's get back to you guys telling me, what is this Bills defense? I mean, we're going against these very good wide receivers. We've been getting cooked at corner. Linebackers that have trouble in coverage, like Sean pointed out. Not so much Bernard, but Williams and potentially Dotson. We still got those safeties back there. I did see a lot of Taylor Rapp last week. But I'll start with you, Jake. What does this defense have to do?
Yeah, I think you got to be physical. Like, that is one thing. The soft zone, I think we have to get away from it. I'm okay with playing a zone coverage, but even if you, like, bump and bail, do something to, like, get these guys off their routes a little bit. Mike Evans is a big, tough receiver, and they're going to throw him some 50-50 balls tomorrow. It's going to happen naturally just because of his size alone. Like, if they get in the red zone, you know who they're going to be going to. Same with Chris Godwin, too. You got to get him off his route a little bit. Be a little physical at the line. I think Taron Johnson's very good at that, too. I want to see our outside corners be a little more physical. Dane and Christian Benford, So I think that's certainly a key. That's something that we did not do at all in New England, and these guys were just catching passes left and right. It was too easy for them. Right away, we talked about that Mike Gesicki catch for a touchdown. Whole reason he scores, I mean, at least if you jam him at the line, you're going to maybe disrupt something, right? But didn't jam him at the line, and he's already a tall target. So for a fact he's winning that battle every single time. So I think that's something the Bills need to start implementing in that defense a little bit more.
What would you have done in that scenario? So it was Taron Johnson against Gesicki. Yeah. What would you have done?
I would have taken Saran Neal and put him right on that guy. It's been proven. Point. I mean, he did a hell of a job against Travis Kelce. So I feel like Mike Gesicki, I know Mike Gesicki's got a little more size than Travis, but like that guy is tough. He's physical. He's fast. Not that he needed the speed really in that area of the field, but that's what I would have done for sure.
Or hold him like you did against Waller.
Yeah.
I mean, you were already.
If you're getting beat, you may as well get a flag.
You were already at the one anyway, so you might as well.
Yeah.
Because especially a guy like Gesicki, all you got to do is throw it like 45 feet in the air, and he can jump up and catch it. And you're not going to beat that.
So, Jake, you mentioned press coverage, man-to-man press coverage is what Go Bills podcast, but we haven't seen them do that this year.
No, it's not their team.
Yeah, so let me throw it to you, Sean. I mean, going along with what Jake said, what else do you think we need to do, if anything else? Because this is a great point. I just haven't seen this from Sean McDermott's defense. We talked about that soft zone. Did you see how far off those corners were playing last week?
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can complete a pass if they're that far off a receiver. How hard is it to just have the guy run in 5 yards, cut, easy throw to him? I mean,
yeah.
Sean, let me throw it to you for your thoughts, man.
Well, we did more of man-to-man press when Trey was healthy, and then as soon as he got hurt, you could tell that they're not as comfortable running that kind of defense. And then you see more of that soft zone where they backpedal all the time. When like they play up close a little bit and they backpedal. But when Kyrie was playing against the Jags, he did play press bump and run a little bit against what's his name, Ridley. Mm-hmm. He played a little bit against Ridley, but then it wasn't every time. But it was once in a while. So it's just not going to – I don't see us doing that. But what I think we could do to change from last week, and me and you talked about it, Mike, on Saturday, is we got absolutely no push from the D tackles, especially the D tackles, but the defensive ends were invisible too. And we mentioned how this Pats team, they're not great offensively, but if you give them time, they will nickel and dime you until they get down the field, and then that's what they did. But if we got pressure like the Cowboys did and the Saints did, you could beat them 35-0 because Mac Jones isn't mobile and the receivers aren't great. So our problem was we gave them the cushion and we couldn't get pressure. And then McDermott was setting blitzes because we couldn't get pressure with 4. And then they would just throw it where that the wide open receiver was from where the blitz came.
Yeah.
And we kept blitzing for some reason, and McDermott should have realized, well, we're not getting home with 5, we're not getting home with 6, so let's just keep going with 4 and put the rest of them into coverage and see what happens. But yeah, I was extremely disappointed with how nobody wanted to step up. Like, it's like you see an opportunity, if you're Jordan Phillips or Poona Ford or Tim Settle, the big guys, the best guys on the team are out. You could step up and be that guy where they're like, wow, we should give this guy more PT next week when Oliver's back. But nobody did anything to earn. I mean, I heard Phillips mention he didn't play good at all. Like, he owned up to it, but nobody stepped up. Nobody on the edge stepped up, except for like AJ made a couple pressures, but Floyd made a play, but then it was a penalty because of Teron Johnson. So it was a good play. So I can't take that away from him. But besides that, he was quiet, did nothing. And especially with, our secondary and our linebackers being as injured as they are, if we're not getting home with our defensive line, who's basically still intact -1, it's going to be like this all season. We can't expect this defense to hold people under 20 points anymore. We have to have the anticipation of they're going to give up 20 to 30 points a game, no matter who we play, and you got to beat that. And that's just how it's going to have to go until either we make a big trade or, Von comes back completely healthy, or this defensive line can play what they were playing for 6 weeks in the season. Up until last week, they were playing, they were number 1 in sacks. They were very solid. And then last week they took a huge step back. So hopefully that's not a trend.
Yeah, that just shows what Oliver means to the defensive front. Another concerning thing, you were talking about Von Miller. So, guys, he had 20 snaps his first game back against the Jaguars. He had 27 against the Giants. And then this past week, 6 snaps, guys. 6. Now, I did read or something that he came out limping at some point in the game, a little limp, and he didn't come back in. And everything I read, I mean, I haven't seen anything in the injury report, and he says he's okay based on something I read. But Von's always going to say he's okay. He just still needs time to get right. But 6 snaps is concerning, guys. I don't know what happened there because we needed him. Could have used him on that last drive. And again, this is the second time now that we know on the last drive of the game, we don't have Von Miller in there. So it's concerning to me. Have you guys heard anything more about Miller?
Yeah, I think the whole ramping up the snap count thing, that is totally out the window. Like, there is noticeably there's a difference with him. Like, he's not back to 100% right now, and it sucks because you expect this guy to be ready to go. Just put him back out on the field and he's back to what he was, right? So, I did see him limping on the field, and it was, I don't know. I mean, it was like he was just kind of walking off, and he had a little gimp. And I know he was, listed on the injury report and whatnot, just had vet rest and then knee in parentheses. But I think for him, it's just going to take some time, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, especially in crucial moments, it's that's a guy you want on the field and a guy that's going to be clutch. What is he doing on the sideline? It's crazy.
Yeah. So it's definitely concerning because, like you guys said, he's just not looking. I mean, I get the snap count. I'm good with that. But now we're dropping the snap count. And even when he's been in, it's just you're like, man, he's a ways away from getting back to even 70% of the Von we saw last year. So it's a tough road, man. But hey, he's aging. I guess we all try to fool ourselves and say, yeah, Von can do it. He's can work miracles with his body. But let me tell you, from a guy who's aging, it's not that easy. We all know.
Oh, you're not aging, Mike.
A guy who's getting older.
You age like a fine wine.
It's tough. It's tough. So, all right. So you guys talked about the defense, what we got to do there to kind of help out. And like you said, Sean, I like your point. I feel like we're going to be like the defense for the Chiefs a few years back when they had to just outscore people. The defense would do okay. Once in a while, they make a stop or two, but it was all about the offense. And man, if we have to count on our offense right now, I'm a little concerned about that based on how they've looked. But let's talk about Jay. Let me start with you, Sean. Talk about the Buccaneers. I won't say the other word, Buccaneers. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But talk about what they bring on defense, Sean.
Well, I mean, they're not the same Bucs defense that won the Super Bowl, but they do got that big boy nose tackle Vita Vea, and they still got Antoine Winfield, Levante David, and they got Devin White, great linebackers, hard hitters. great in coverage. They're just people you don't want to meet in the hole. So I did see Cook be more physical last week, which I was happy with because usually to me, it looks like he's kind of like, oh, I'm about to hit contact. I'm not going to try to get the extra yard. I'm just going to like embrace and go down. He was initiating the contact, which was great. But this is the type of game where you might not want the running back's not going to want to initiate the contact with these guys. And, the coaches always say when you're a linebacker, hit the running back so hard that they're not going to want to hit your hole anymore. And this could be one of those games where we're going to have to be tough and aggressive. And Murray, I think, will be, I think he should get a couple carries in the beginning just to get it going, But, it seems like they got a couple rookies on here. I think Green is rookie. But they got a rookie defensive end, a rookie nickelback, and, a couple other rookies on defense that aren't starters. But, there's some holes here, but they're a very physical, tough defense. And Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator. They played us tough last year, a couple years ago, and they're just always in games. And, even that year when they had Jameis Winston throwing 30 picks, they were on the field so many times, but they were still a great defense. So definitely got to watch out for the running up the middle. Maybe we could take some outside runs this week. You can still maybe utilize in the middle of the field a little bit for passing, but utilize high-low routes and maybe cut like digs inside and then see if the linebackers follow, and then you can get like Kincaid or Sherfield in the back. And but we should be able to utilize the whole every spot of the field. But they got playmakers everywhere. You just got to be mindful. Even Jamal Dean, another good, pretty decent cornerback. But I think I like Winfield a lot. I don't know much about their rookie nickelback, Christian Azian.
Yep.
I don't know much about
undrafted.
him. Undrafted. Yeah, I don't know much about him, but he's good enough to start, I guess. So he must make some plays. But yeah, like Shaq Barrett too. I forgot about Shaq Barrett. I mean, God forgive me because this guy's a beat. He's he's that guy. I think what he had 20 sacks or something that one year.
Oh yeah, he should have won like defensive player of the year, but he lost out on it.
Yeah,
crazy.
He's been and they got the way they do their defense is DN, nose tackle, DN, linebacker.
Yeah.
So they're going to run 4 to 5 guys in the line of scrimmage, but they're not technically defensive ends. Kind of like how Von Miller was in Denver.
Okay.
But it's going to be tough. They got a good defensive line, and Vita Vea is going to, even though we got a good pass blocking offensive line, he's going to win reps. I'm going to tell everybody now, don't think that the offensive line's bad because they lose a couple reps.
He's also an all-pro. He's like one of the best nose tackles in the league.
I was just telling Jake in the car when we were driving, I said, so say you block 40 times and you win 30 reps out of 40 reps. That's amazing. You can't expect these guys to win every single time. So when, if they get beat a couple times, it's going to happen. It's up to the offense to make plays at that point. So, don't expect you can never expect a perfect day, but they got some guys that can disrupt games. They got some guys that can get key picks. They're playmaking defense. They're high flying, they make plays, but they can also be beat. And I think as long as we play smart with the football, we should be fine.
Yeah, well said, Sean. I want to give you guys some numbers. So I was thinking about it. A lot of people have been talking about Josh Allen this, Josh Allen that, mostly negative. But I looked at the numbers, and this might surprise you. So he's currently on pace to match his touchdowns in 2021, which was 36. He's also, and he's only one off the pace to match touchdowns from last year. Remember, they only played 16 games. So he's on pace to match the last 2 years of the number of touchdowns he threw. He's 15 touchdowns through 7 games. Yeah. He's on pace to have more passing yards this year than he did in 2021 and 2022. Yep. People probably don't think that, but he's on pace. His passing attempts, he's on pace to have 597 passing attempts. That's right on par with what he's done over the last 2 to 3 years. And where he's down, what's different this year is he's on pace to have 70 rushing attempts for 359 yards. That's his current pace. 70 rushing attempts would be the lowest in his career. Back in his rookie career, in his rookie season, and he didn't play he only started 11 games. He had 89 attempts. So he's on pace to only get 70. Now that's a big difference, right? Huge difference. And that's where, but then you look at I'm like, okay, that's okay. I mean, if we're running the ball more with our running backs, I'm cool with that. But it's interesting if you look at last year and this year we're averaging 26.6 rushing attempts per game for an average of 4.2 yards a carry. Last year, we ran the ball an average of 26.9 times for a average of 5.2, a full yard more last year. You wouldn't think that. That's surprising to me.
So that's inflated a little bit by quarterback rushing.
Probably. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's with Josh being down. And again, there's a big debate whether, I think you and Brett were saying he's being held back. They're not scheming up some plays. And I heard a bunch of people saying that, and that might be the case. But that's where the biggest difference is. Josh Allen is doing less running. There's some of us, and we've been saying this in the past, who are okay with that. But I thought maybe I would see more Russian attempts. But no, they're dead even from last year to this year. And it's just really the fact that Josh Allen had more carries and he inflated those numbers. And so pretty interesting stuff. I will say this too. We averaged 139.5 rushing yards per game last year and only 113 yards this year.
Yeah.
So,
and going back to what you said about Josh, like we also mentioned it today. He's number one in total touchdowns. He's top 3 in QBR and top 3 in completion percentage. And I just look at Jake, I'm like, dude, how does he have this great of stats, but he's not really playing his best football? And that's fair. Two things can be true. So he has all these great stats, which you mentioned, which are all true. But you could see when he's playing, like the last 3 games especially, he hasn't shown up till the middle of the fourth quarter. And he's still topping all these stats. So if he just gets it together, can you imagine how good we can really be? And that's why we're so critical, is because when you watch the film, when you watch the games, you can tell he's missing stuff. And when Jake brought up the stat of he was 10 for 24 with 3.5 seconds or more to throw the football, the problem is when he has those 3.5 seconds, he's looking at the same guy for 3.5 seconds. He's not, Diggs. Instead of looking at Diggs the whole time, I'm going to look at Kincaid, then Sherfield, then Hardy, then go back to Hardy, then Sherfield, then Kincaid, then Diggs. He just stays with the one guy, and then all of a sudden pressure comes in 4 seconds. Then I got to go. And everyone's like, he's getting pressured the whole day. No. One thing I noticed that he is not going through reads and progressions like I never noticed it before until this year. I don't know if he never used to do that, but he seems to be looking down receivers more than he ever has. And that's, I think, his main issue. And, if he can just get back to his football, that he's been playing, all these great stats will continue to amplify, and he'll have a crazy season. He might get 40 touchdown passes or so. But and I think too, Mike, is like, I still believe that he can run when the play breaks down. And I was telling Jake, it seems like he's being petty about it. Like he's like sitting there like, you don't want me to run? Okay, I'm not going to run at all. So if I have an open lane, I'm just going to throw it. I just think, unfortunately, we're never going to know because Jake mentioned, they could have told him don't ever run in any circumstance, unless it's like dire need, or whatever. That could be true. Or maybe Josh is being petty, like, okay, I'm not going to run at all. I just want to be a pocket passer or whatever. But you've seen plenty of times, if there's an open lane, we all want you to take it. The only thing us fans, like me and Mike especially, because we were on that side of the spectrum, we don't want him to do the designed runs that are going to get him killed, like quarterback draws and running up the middle and quarterback sweeps. Like, you don't need to do that. But if it's a play that breaks down, you can still be yourself, Josh. You can still be that Ferrari that people are talking about. We're not telling you don't take the Ferrari out. We're just saying be careful when you're on a slippery road. Don't go 150 in a 45. Just
good analogy.
Be smart when you're driving the car. So, I guess we'll never know. But if Josh has to run 10 times a game, I guess, for us to look like we used to, and then he doesn't play as many years as we would want, and we get the results we want, I guess that's what we have to decide. And
I think just letting the defense know that there's still a threat that he can run too. Like, teams are going to be watching film on him, and it's like, this dude, like, we know what he's done in the past, but like, he's not doing it as much this year. Like, tendencies are adding up, and through 7 games now, his rushing attempts are way down. He's on pace for his lowest rushing attempts in a season. So maybe I mean, there's certainly a piece with that where, hey, you start running the football a little bit with Josh, even if it's not necessarily a design run. Yeah. But like, if you tell Josh, like, hey, this guy's not open, just take it and run because it's going to be wide open for you. And that spreads the defense out a little bit, and then it's just going to create more openings for us. So
he does have 4 rushing touchdowns too.
He does. Yeah.
Like what's the most he's ever had in a year? 9, I think.
Yep.
Rushing touchdowns?
Yeah, did he have 8 or 9 in a season before?
Yeah, give me a second here to look that up. He's got. Let's see, where is that stat?
Was his rookie year?
Yeah, I think or 2020. I think he had a good amount too.
That's not showing me.
So if he's on pace for like 37 touchdown passes, he could be on pace for like 10 rushing touchdowns too. So that'd be
crazy.
But yeah, I think I agree.
I thought I had that stat. I don't have that off the top of my head right
now.
now.
I'm pretty sure it's less. I don't think he's ever had double-digit rushing touchdowns, but technically he's on pace for about if he got 4 in 7 games, 8 and 14. Yeah, he's on pace for about 10 rushing touchdowns too. So, I think he just needs to. Like, I don't think it's that hard to understand. Like, difference between not calling design runs and you running when the play breaks down is totally different. I don't think you need to think about it when it happens. Like, just do it like you used to. Nobody's telling you don't run when the play breaks down. So hopefully he does that more often because we've seen the opportunity. And, we see guys like Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence and Pat Mahomes just not trying to rush. But when people are dropping back into coverage and there's an open lane, they just take it. And I'm sure their coaches don't call design runs for them. And they just do that whenever it happens, and they get like 50 rushing yards a game, and there you go. So I think Josh just needs to understand when the opportunity's there, just take it.
The Eagles started using Jalen Hurts' legs a little bit more, and it was noticeable in that Dolphins game. And what a difference it made for them. He looked like the Jalen Hurts of last season because it was something that the Eagles were also prioritizing was they didn't want Jalen Hurts to get hurt. Literally Hurts to get hurt. And they felt like it was important to just develop him as a pocket passing quarterback. And when you try to do that, you try to fit this quarterback in a system per se, or you try to make him something he's not. It's never good. And I hope that's not happening here in Buffalo. I don't want to believe it is. I think Josh needs to just be a gamer like he always is, not make stupid decisions. But if there's an open running lane, just take it and do his thing, And he addressed that in his press conferences this week too. So I think we're going to see that version of Josh tomorrow night.
Yeah, I hope so. So to answer your question, he has had 9 touchdowns is the most he's ever had, and that was in his second year.
Second year, okay.
So he had 20 passing touchdowns and 9. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yep. That was pretty good. He still had a pretty good season there.
Surprising season.
I think that's when people think it was the year 3 where he actually ascended, but I believe it was year 2.
Yeah.
Because also remember our best receiver was John Brown. We should have won a playoff game. So, but it's interesting.
But Josh had 7 touchdowns last year, 6 the year before that, and 8 before that. So, like you said, he's on pace to have the same number of touchdowns. So it's just an interesting conversation, for sure. And then we didn't even talk about the fact that the number 1 pick in the year that Josh Allen was drafted was Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
And we're also happy that, I mean, in that year, let's go back to that year a little bit because I'd like to hear from the channel. We're going to get into a little more in this game, but in that year, I'll ask Sean. Sean, were you watching? Were you big on watching the draft? Did you have a quarterback in mind? Because there were so many quarterbacks on that board, including Lamar Jackson, who went I think he was the last one taken in the first round, something like that. But did you have somebody on your radar that you were looking for the Bills to take? Was Josh Allen that guy? Because nobody in Buffalo seemed to want him. Maybe Jake did because he saw the potential that he looked like him. But what was your thoughts about that draft?
Well, honestly,
2018.
I was never, I didn't really get into the draft, like college football, until I started doing content. So when it came to the draft, I was just hoping whoever it was that we picked, just whenever there's a new president, I just hope they do a good job. So I was hoping when we got a quarterback, I just hope he did a good job. So I didn't say when we got Josh, he's going to stink. I didn't want this guy. I just thought, you know what? Let's see. Maybe he could be, the guy that we need. And then I know a lot of people didn't want him, but turns out we're grateful because there was a lot of bad options there. And Baker's doing good now, but 4 teams in 5 years, that wouldn't have been what we wanted anyway. So yeah, to be honest, I wasn't big on drafting back then. I would watch the draft and then, okay, awesome. Josh Allen. Okay, let's see what happens. So, but again, back then, because we were in the drought and we weren't good, it was easy not to really care about if anything went wrong. You're just like, oh, okay, well, we've been in the playoff drought, so we'll see. And then, now it's a little bit different. So yeah, I didn't really have a preference. I was just hopeful. And, I remember after the first year, my Army buddies, like, you're in a big mix. There's Pat fans, there's Cardinals fans everywhere. Everybody's like, after the first year, everyone's like, oh, Josh Allen sucks. Josh Allen sucks. And I remember telling them, even though I might have believed that he sucked in his first year, I said, just watch. Just watch. I'm telling you, he's going to be good. And then the following year, he got better. And then he got the third year. And then I was already out of the Army by the third year. But after the second year, that he did really good in 2019. I look at my buddies and I said, you remember you told me he sucked, and look how good he's been. Yep. And my buddies were like, yeah, he did tell you to watch. And then it was my friend that's a Pats fan, and he's like, yeah, I mean, he's been better. And then now look how far he's come. He beat Dan Marino's touchdown record, and nobody's ever beaten. So I'm happy with it. Obviously,
yeah.
But, I didn't have any preference.
So Jake, what about you? Because I know you live and die the draft.
Yeah. I was more along the lines of, let's see what happens here. I wasn't like super hyped. I wasn't like, oh, this is a terrible pick, because the prototypical guy was Josh Rosen. And he's not in the NFL anymore. So it's crazy. Like, if we had drafted Josh Rosen, like, that would have been wild.
We'd still be in the draft.
Yeah, we would, for sure. So, I mean, I can't thank this man enough for what he's done. It's absolutely incredible. But it's wild, because I was just thinking, like, so Baker's playing against Josh on Thursday night. And then we have Sam Darnold starting, who was third overall, picked by the Jets, but he's starting for the 49ers because Brock Purdy in concussion protocol, probably not going to play against Cincinnati. And then obviously Lamar doing his thing in Baltimore. So interesting that all of that draft class here, minus Josh Rosen, starting this week still.
I wonder what he's doing nowadays.
Yeah.
I think he's got like he's like a carpenter, like a nice 9-to-5 job, or
I don't know.
Still trying to play football. You guys remember his interview? It was just, they always post it in like the Instagram reels. It's so funny. He's like, yeah, I'm coming for Tom Brady's record. I want to go to the team that wants to win the most Super Bowls. Oh man, I can't believe you said that stuff. Awful. And then you were horrible.
Yeah.
But that's just so funny. And yeah, but the drafting's all a crapshoot.
Yep.
And I still firmly believe if Josh didn't work out, Bean wouldn't be the GM still. It was his first real thing, his first big pick. And if it went out, he took the big gamble. He said, this Josh guy can make us a fantastic football team, or we could continue down the road we're still on. And it worked out for him and the whole city of Buffalo, the team, the fans, everything. But that really pivoted Bean into like who people view him as today. And, I feel like because of that, we often draft a lot of project players now instead of like for sure things with like decent ceilings. We picked a guy who's got a very, very low floor with a super high ceiling instead of a guy with a very high floor and a ceiling that's not so high as a project guy. Like Greg Rousseau always comes to mind because he played 1 year as defensive end in college. And, he's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the strength, he's got everything. But, we took the gamble on him as a project player. And, there's a lot of different examples. I'm not going to get into all of them. But it seems like now we're in this predicament where we have all these injuries and we're scrambling. Oh, we got to trade for people. But maybe if we started drafting solid players who are not guaranteed, but so much pro ready, maybe it'd be better than drafting projects.
Yeah. So Jake, you're telling me when the Bills came to the podium in 2018 in that first round, you didn't have a guy in mind that you wanted them to take at that spot?
I actually really wanted Baker, but he went first overall. So at that point I was like, well, whatever happens, happens,
Okay.
So I was like, when we got him, I obviously looked into him and stuff, and I'm like, Wyoming, maybe a bit of a project. I known a little bit about him. I knew he was like the next Brett Favre, and lo and behold, look at him. He's Brett Favre with legs. So.
I hope he's not, because Brett Favre had like 700 total turnovers.
Well, it kind of followed suit a little bit there, but yeah.
After the day after that draft, Tony, Tony from our channel.
Yeah.
I saw him at the office. He said, you guys, mark my words, you guys got the best quarterback in the draft.
Wow.
In the first round. He actually called it. So good call there.
Tony. He spoke it into existence.
He
Tony got to see him play in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, I believe.
Oh, So very cool. So James, I'm sorry, I've been not meaning to ignore the channel here. I've just got some good conversation going on. We can't expect to have a Pro Bowl impact immediately. Use him like the Yankees use Mariano Rivera until he's 100% healthy. Yeah, I agree. Just the only concern is that he had 20 plus, dips to 6. And, I guess for me, if you're going to limit him, save those for when it might count in the fourth quarter. Yeah, put him in late in the game.
Right.
And then he says, I agree, letting Josh be Josh. But he's got to trust Kincaid, Hardy, and others on each drive. Absolutely. And hopefully we saw things to come with Kincaid this past game. I mean, the guy was unstoppable. It was what we've all been waiting for.
Yep.
All right. So I'll throw it to you, Josh/Jake Allen Podger. I think your name, did your parents by chance name you Allen, middle name Allen?
My middle name is Allen. I swear to God. It's after my dad, though, so it's not spelled Allen. It's Alan.
You know what's funny? That's my middle name, Allen. A-L.
Is it really?
A-N. Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mine too, actually.
Is it really?
No.
So we got Josh,
That's Michael.
Jake, Allen Podger.
Isn't that crazy?
The doppelganger for Josh Allen. Let me throw it to you. So what do the Bills got to do to right the ship against this defense this week? Because, man, playing the last 3 weeks, wait until second half to get going isn't going to fly this week against this Buccaneer team. So talk to me, Jake. What do they got to do?
Pedal to the metal, baby. No, I mean, all gas, no brakes. I think immediately you have to get off to a good start. You got to score in your first possession. No more of this waiting to get hot. I mean, it's obvious, obviously, right? Obviously. You got to get hot early. You can't keep waiting 3 quarters to play good offensive football. It just doesn't work out. And unfortunately, I think that Giants game was such a fluke because that never happens. And we should have still lost that game too. But last week, it was a gut punch. I think this Patriots game is going to be a huge gut punch. May turn our season around. So got to get hot early. I think control the line of scrimmage for sure, especially in the interior. Vita Vea, best nose tackle in the NFL. You're going to have to, I don't know if you're going to double him or whatever you have to do, but you got to take him out of the play because he wreaks havoc there in the middle and can clog up our running game, clog up running lanes, and, cause a lot of disruption in the passing game as well. So I think with their defense, it's young, it's stout. They're pretty damn good still. It's not the same defense that won a Super Bowl with them, but they got some dogs on that team now. Joe Tryon Shoyinka still there. Shaq Barrett, as Sean mentioned, Devin White, Levante David. That linebacking core is insane, as good as it gets. They run a base 3-4, so those guys will line up on the edge as like edge rushers basically and try to, cave in. And I think Josh is going to have to do Josh-like things at times. So it's going to be a challenge for the offensive line for sure. But if they can, win their battles up front, that's most important. And I think you just let Josh do Josh-like things, like I said.
Yeah, they're only giving up 95.8 yards a game on the ground, the Buccaneers. So Sean, what do you think, man? I mean, what else? Talk about, not only what Jake talked about, but what else you think they got to do? Because obviously it looks to me like that running game is going to be a struggle there.
Yeah, I think Josh just needs to continue to go through progressions, man. Like I keep harping on it, but it's as simple as that. Because the plays are creative. If you watch them, things develop and things are open. So when he has time to throw, go through progressions. Or if you want to do quick routes and you see pressure coming, get it out. And it's just play consistent football, run efficiently. I'm a big guy. I don't want to run 50-50. And a lot of fan base wants to say, keep running. Well, how much do we want to run? In my opinion, I think we got to be a 60-40 team at least. Maybe 65-35, in my opinion. That's the type of guy I want to be, but team I want to be. But, I mean, Josh just has to believe in himself, believe in his team. I think the play calling is fine. The sound, plays are good. They're always there because we see us execute. We're moving down the field. And all of a sudden something happens and we don't. So be smart with the football. Feel pressure, get the ball to your hot route, and then let plays develop. Because I was telling Jake, there's so many times where he immediately passes the ball to someone before like Kincaid or Sherfield even get to the break of their route. They're just still trying to get started. Yeah. Like let these things develop so you can maybe see something better. So really just Kincaid was waiting for Sean. You know what? I would love him to get his touchdown right in the end zone and jump up.
Oh, that would be awesome. Poetic.
Yeah,
poetic.
You know, I was mainly mad about that pick because I thought we were going to miss out on Torrance. And once we got him, I felt better about it. And now when you see, you know, he's actually open all the time, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people are still going to be like, oh, no, I don't like that pick because, you know, you got to get, you know, our friend Anthony from the Summit mentioned we should have got a receiver in the first round, not a tight end. But this tight end is like a wide receiver, and he's always open and can be just as good, if not better, than a wide receiver. And I'd love to see him get in the end zone, especially on our end zone. I'll be really upset if he scores on the other end zone. And so hopefully all of our touchdowns come on our side and we score a bunch of them.
You look at these like rookie nickel corners too. We could take advantage of that, whether it be Khalil Shakir, Deontay Hardy. Yeah, like I think those guys can eat up tomorrow. So, you know, I think obviously you got to give Steph his target still, but look at the slot guys. Look at Dalton Kincaid. I think he's going to have a monster day tomorrow.
Yeah, I like the fact that Khalil got a little more involved last week, so I hope that trend continues because I think that young kid, I've been saying that since we drafted him, he can do special things. I want to ask you about Big Al because I know Big Al, all he was talking about pre-draft was Torrance as well, right? He was all about Torrance. I mean, what was his take when they drafted Kincaid? You know how he felt?
I think he loved it actually because he looked at it like I think at first he was with the ladder, like a little confused because tight end probably wasn't our first need. We just had a Pro Bowl season out of Dawson Knox. I know the Pro Bowl doesn't mean a whole lot lately, but it was like a bit of a head scratcher just because it wasn't a position of need. But a lot of people didn't understand his background being that of like a very athletic pass catcher and a guy that could play in the slot and ultimately be a big version of Cole Beasley. So that's what we've been missing, and I love it. And here's Keith coming in, too. He says he loved the Kincaid pick, wanted Miami to take him. Would have been a nice fit in that offense, too. You imagine Mike McDaniel, what he would do with a guy like that?
They like blocking tight ends. They don't need
Durham Smythe, man, he's been good. I like him.
This is something we should talk about because Kincaid's the only healthy tight end we have. The other two are out.
Yeah.
Both Knox and
expect to see Joel
Morris.
Wilson activated.
So, Sean, what are we going to do there?
You got Sean Kula, too.
Got Sean Kula, but what are we going to do? We've been running a lot of 12 personnel. Who's going to be that other tight end? Is it going to be Gilliam? Who are we activating that's going to be? Who else do we have tight end?
Nobody was called up, I don't think, and I don't.
Okay.
It'll be Joel Wilson.
Let me see if we do have anyone on the.
It's Joel Wilson, so he'll be the guy that's called up probably.
Practice squad.
Yeah. So he played in preseason. He wore number 48. Looked a little awkward out there, but I think he can get the job done.
Yeah, he didn't get called up though, so he won't be playing. I think you got to be called up by today.
Today.
Yeah, so he didn't get called up.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So they're either going to roll with Gilliam, but I think they're going to stick to more 11 personnel and see what it's like with just Kincaid. And then, you know, maybe they're going to see, maybe we don't have to do 12 personnel all the time. Maybe we'll go with 11 and we can just swap Knox and Kincaid once in a while, or just still run 12 a little bit too. But, yeah, Gilliam. And then like Jessica said, you know, Edwards, we also use him in motion too, which I always find it funny. Like when he pretends like he's getting the football, I'm like, no one's gonna believe you're gonna get the football, David.
I love that though.
But I love it makes me laugh.
You gotta love it, man.
He's like hustling. He goes like, all right. But yeah, you could use him as an extra lineman or even a tight end, and you know, and I mean, obviously it would be more like you're gonna run block. Obviously, if he's in, I doubt they're gonna throw him the football. Yeah. Maybe they'll throw a trick play in the end zone and give him a touchdown, big man touchdown. But I think I like to see a little bit more 11 personnel out there, and you know, I'm sure we'll still see some 12. But I mean, as Jake says, when Gilliam's on the field, great things happen. But I haven't seen it lately.
You watch tomorrow night, baby. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Does that concern you though? Because 11 personnel, Sean. I mean, that means Kincaid's going to be lining up on the line, whereas we like him in the slot. We like him where he's been. So now he's got to line up on the line and potentially block, and that's not his thing either.
No,
so a little concerning there, right?
Yeah, but I think he's just going to have to chip because especially with the guys we got, I don't want him to, like you said, I don't want him to ever be in a blocking situation, but chipping is just enough time that we need because even if the rep is going to be, you know, even if they're going to get pressure, if you chip him first, Josh has a half a second is a ton of time. You know, I know it's crazy, but like when you run track and stuff too, Like you get the 100-meter dash, you get a 9.4 over a 9.3. Like that's a huge difference. Same thing with football. That little bit of block on Shaq Barrett can keep Josh in the pocket a little bit longer to throw a dime to Diggs down the field. So there'll be a lot of chipping. And then, like you said, though, they could do the 12 personnel with Gilliam and Edwards, like Jessica said, and then do a bunch of heavy packages and stuff like that, which I do love heavy packages. I remember doing those in high school. That was real fun. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what we do on the offense.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we've been a little over an hour. We've covered.
I have seen Gabe, by the way. I have seen Gabe, just to go with what Brett was saying there. I have seen him get in a 3-point stance before. It's not pretty, but they have done that sometimes. And even last week with the tush push for Josh Allen on those QB sneaks, they would line up in I formation, and Gabe Davis was that fullback behind him. So it's kind of interesting to see.
All right. Well, unless there's anything else you guys want to cover, I mean, we're at that point in the show where we kind of give a prediction. Now, I told you I'm taking the score predictions off our segment. If you want to give a score predictions, go ahead. But I will predict just a winner and a loser. And if you want my prediction, the Bills win by 1 point or more. I said okay. I was wrong. I said it last week. I said they win by 1 point or more, and I was completely wrong. But I'd like to hear how you folks are thinking this game goes in the channel, and then I'll throw it to you, Jake. I mean, if you want to give your full play-by-play, what you think is going to happen, I always love that. But go ahead. You first, man.
Well, because Mr. Sean Cool is in the house, I think none other than my guy, Reggie Gilliam, scoring tomorrow. He should be on the field. Hypothetically, he should be on the field more than what he's been in previous games. I think they're going to use a lot of this heavier package, 12 personnel potentially? Probably not. They're going to be operating out of 11. And technically, because Reggie Gilliam's a fullback, it would be 21 personnel. Thank you, Jessica, for talking about that. But yeah, the up-tempo 11 personnel for sure. I think that works out the best. Josh feels more comfortable in that type of system. You could tell it just everything seems to be rolling a lot more. So with that being said, I think that will happen a lot. But I am going to predict a first touchdown of Reggie Gilliam because the last night game I was at, he scored the first touchdown. So I'm going to predict that again. So he's going to go up first. We're going to get 6 on the board. We're going to kick that extra point. Things are going to be great. Sean, we're going to be celebrating in the stands. We might have someone come up and jump in the stands and be with us. Who knows? We're going to be right by the tunnel. So it's
better have some beers ready for them, guys.
Some
beers ready for them.
I will do it.
Have 2 on standby just in case, and be like, here, take them, please.
That's right. After that, I think it's just going to be the Bills' day. They're going to be rolling. It's going to be an all-out celebration. This guy is undefeated in Highmark Stadium, Mike. So
I feel good about that.
I know you're a little superstitious. I'm a little superstitious as well. I'm going to knock on wood for both of us, but I'm saying, and I know you don't like to give score predictions, but I am going to give one. The Bills win by 2 or more points.
Well, Mike, think about this. I was telling Jake in the car. We predicted blowouts, we lost, or we didn't get the blowout. We predicted a win by 1 point, and we lost. So screw it. Why don't we just go back to picking our score prediction? Because we tried it both ways, and it's not working for us. So maybe let's go back to the old ways. And I don't think this is going to be a blowout, but I wasn't a blowout last time. The Dolphins game. They didn't even get off the bus. We blew them out so bad that they should have been embarrassed to play the next week. But luckily for them, they played a bad team, so they were able to come out there. But I'm just kidding. I know Keith's in the chat, so I wanted
in the chat. Oh boy,
wanted to bust this shot. But
he says 27-17.
I think this could be a good game. I mean, I would like 27-17. Like I said, if we give up 17 points, that's a win for the defense because the way they're banged up and playing, I don't expect them to ever give below 20. So we were embarrassed to play that last week. Yeah, I'm just messing with you, Keith. You know that. But yeah, there should be another game we should win, especially we're home. And then really they need to think, we've been seeing nobody's excited on the sideline. The players aren't, the captains especially, besides Diggs. I don't know why Davis is a captain for one. Josh, I know he's a quiet leader. He's in the locker room leader. But on the field, you got to do more, man, than sitting on the bench because, as I always say, your guys see you on the bench sitting there, whether it's good or bad. You go and sit there and you pout or you just have no emotion. They're going to look at you and be like, if my leader's like that, my best player's like that, why should I can't be hyped up. I don't feel excited anymore. No, but if Josh is standing up, like, even if it's just simple as like, hey, Hardy, great job, man. Like, you ran a great route. I missed you, but I'll get you on the next time. Like, stuff like that will get people excited. When you throw a touchdown and you're like, woo, and then you sit on the bench like,
yeah,
and you wait to go back in, or you throw a pick and you're just like, oh, I gotta go back out on the field now. Like, that's not what people want. And I mean, when I was a leader and I had leaders and bad leaders and good leaders, you learn from everybody. You learn from the bad leaders because you don't want to be like them, and you learn from the good ones because you want to be like them. So Josh needs to step up on the field, like on the sideline, like in that Chiefs game when he threw that touchdown with 17 seconds left to Gabe and he was pumped up. You don't got to do that every second, but maybe do that a little bit to let these guys know, I want to fight for you guys, and this is important. Like the Kyle Williams speech, like we need a guy like Kyle Williams to be in the locker room and just pump people up. And the season's on the line, whether people want to believe it or not. If you go 4-4, you have to go 8-1 the rest of the season to guarantee a playoff spot. Because six losses doesn't guarantee you a playoff spot. So every game has to be played like there's no tomorrow. As cliche as that is, I said it in high school every week. You have to play like this is your literal last day of playing football. And if they come out flat, they come out scoreless in the first quarter, scoreless in the second quarter, 3 points in the first half, we're gonna find out who this team is. So I think I like Q score 27-17. I'd be happy with that.
Nice. I wanted to say I have a friend that I work with and he's a huge Bills fan as well. And he was at the Patriot game. And he said the same thing you guys have been saying. He said there was no excitement on the Bills sideline. Nobody trying to get anyone motivated. And he said it was just a bad thing to see. So and he was right. He was 2 rows behind them. So it's not like he was far behind. He was right there to see everything that was developing on the sideline there on the Bills side. So, yeah, Big L's been calling for it. A lot of folks, get out there. Somebody be that cheerleader, man. Get some motivation going. But
Mike, let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
If I told you I'd pay you $5 million to play football tomorrow, how jumping for joy and happy and glee would you be?
Oh, man. I'd get on the plane, honey. I'll see you in a few days. Let's go.
Exactly. So, like, we were hyped up playing for nothing. And then these guys get, you're a Super Bowl caliber team. You're playing for millions of dollars. You're playing for a city that loves you more than anything. We're selling out stadiums when you sucked. Like, how can you not have energy? I just don't understand it. Like you're saying, your friend at the Pats game, like, there was a couple times where there was a couple plays where the coaches were like, woohoo, throwing their towels around, and like David Edwards was going crazy. But that's just a couple plays. You got to be high energy all game. In high school, even the guys that didn't play at all, and the coaches would tell them, you guys don't play. Your job is to get pumped up on the sideline. You're never going to play unless someone gets hurt. Get pumped up on the side. As shitty as that sounds, but that's kind of that's how one of my coaches work. And he said, your guys' job is to cheer, to be happy, to go get pumped up and to motivate the guys in the game. And if they didn't do it, then they were basically off the team. So, I mean, I guess people get comfortable in the pros, but this is where the captains really matter. It's more than just being a little C on your chest embroidered on your jersey. You have to actually step up in that role in a time like this. So, sorry I keep rambling about it, but it's super important, and leadership is super important. And I love this team. I would love to, if I can meet all these guys and talk to them and have fun, like I would, that'd be the best part of a day or whatever. But you got to be critical sometimes, and they got to step up in their job. Like we all have to step up sometime in our job, especially me. Like I run my business. If my new employee is sick or something, I got to take more jobs. I have to do it. I got to be motivated. I got to produce a great product. And if I don't, I lose a client. I lose money. I lose reputation. It should be the same for football players too.
Yep.
Yeah. So guys, I think that's about it. So here's my only predictions I will give. Gilliam scores a touchdown in the end zone you're at. And so does Kincaid. I think it would be justice if Kincaid scores his first touchdown when Sean is at the game. I mean,
hell yeah.
I mean, come on, let's just count that one right now.
Yeah.
And Sean is undefeated. Let's keep that going and enjoy your VIP experience at the Barbell with your.
Scared. I feel like you guys are tricking me.
No, man. I mean, is who's going with you? Is it just Big Al?
Yeah, we'll be bringing little MVP too. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
Oh man, you're bringing little MVP. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Barbell's like.
They're gonna shut down the whole barbell for us.
They might. They might. So, Jake, let me ask, do you have to do reservations? They don't take reservations,
They don't
right?
take reservations. Yeah, you got to show
what's
up.
The plan?
The plan is we're going to get there at like 11, probably right, or maybe 11 on the nose because they open
in
at
the
11:30.
morning. Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
the expectation probably the wait is what, about an hour maybe?
So if we get there at that time, we should be able to just walk right in. But then it fills up. I mean, it fills up fast.
Yeah,
so.
It's a small little place.
Yep.
Go Bucks.
I
Thanks, Jessica. Again, if you're new to the channel or you're catching this on the rewatch, please
hey, Brian Label.
Hey, we were just talking
about you, Brian.
Yeah, we really talked about him today.
So we passed by St. Francis High School, which is my alma mater, and we're talking. I was like telling Sean, this is where Brian Dable went to school too. Like the Polians put a bunch of money into the facilities, and he's like, you know what? I haven't seen in a while. Brian Label.
Yeah.
Brian, good to see you, sir.
Yeah, I guess your ears were ringing. Oh, Mike,
Heck yeah.
we drove by Josh Allen's house too.
Oh yeah, twice.
Really?
Yeah, we did.
And we told
there was a car in the driveway. It was on.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Where's he live? I mean, you don't have to tell anyone, but how far from where you live, Jake, is he?
Probably about 10 minutes.
Is it a gated community?
No, he lives on like a public. It's Newton Road in Orchard Park.
So when you go trick or treating, you take little MVP.
Gated. There's a long driveway to get down.
All right. Well, you take little MVP and you go trick or treating there this year.
I think at the gate there's like a thing you have to press, and it's like it probably comes up with a voice or something. And it's probably like Josh Allen saying something about like the Bills.
You don't think Josh will be out there handing out candy?
I don't know. I wonder how that dynamic is.
Gotta try it out. I mean,
yeah.
you know,
It's kind of like it's not a rural area, but it's definitely it's like an in between the suburbs and like being rural. If that makes sense where he is.
Okay.
It's not like a typical place that I feel like a pro athlete would build a house, which I love. It's kind of cool.
Nice. Okay.
Like, can't you see Jake driving by there every night after he gets done with work? Like,
I think he already does. Come on, he's not admitting it, but you know he's driven past.
I turned the blinker on like I was going to drive into the driveway, but wow. Brian knows squirrel. He knows Squirrel Winter. That's cool.
That is cool. Was that last year with all the stuff that was going on? I wonder.
Yeah. So Squirrel's the farmer that lived, I think, across the street.
Can you imagine shoveling that driveway?
Land. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. No, you need a tractor to plow that driveway.
Crazy.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, Farmers United there. That's pretty sweet.
So is Josh Allen's house? Is it a mansion? Is it big, huge?
Oh yeah. He's got a par 3 golf course in his backyard. Mike.
What? Get out of here!
Freaking sweet.
I wish he had a big film studio too.
So he does. He has a golf simulator too.
So you can watch his film.
Yeah.
Watch his own film.
Yep.
Well, Brian Label, good to see you, man. Yeah. I appreciate you coming back. I know Brian's predicted. He said this was the year. He had a feeling, and he's never does these type of predictions that this was the Bills' year. So,
well, you know what, Mike? Too.
Yeah.
He hasn't been here for a couple of weeks, and we haven't been playing good.
So maybe
this is where the tides turn when Brian Label comes back.
Right.
Let's hopefully.
Yep.
I mean, you guys got a nice win last week versus the Commanders, and you know.
He's still picking the Bills for the Super Bowl too. I love it. Always high hopes, always good vibes when Brian joins the show. Thank you so much.
Well, now I'm definitely confident. Now I'm going to put my score prediction at 37-17.
Oh, I like that.
And I said it before the Miami game. I said at the game and on the show, I think Josh needs a 4 to 5 touchdown day this game. I'm going to say it again because it means it's going to happen. Josh needs another 4 to 5 touchdown game, total touchdown tomorrow night, and it's going to happen. Kincaid's going to score and Gilliam's going to score. All the touchdowns are going to be in our end zone, and at least someone's going to jump in the stands, and we're going to try to jump the couple rows to get close to him and say what's up.
Brett, you're false on that. He lives in Orchard Park.
He's like, I know for sure.
we drove past it today twice. It's a beautiful place.
So interesting. So tomorrow, now you're very close to the stadium, right, Jake? So let's say the game goes to about 11:30ish.
Yep.
And how long do you think it would take to get home? Because
we'll
I'm just
back
wondering.
Here probably a little after midnight.
Could we maybe do a little breakdown afterwards?
Oh, we're going.
Oh, that's the plan. Oh, we're all in.
All right, good.
Oh,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Like my train leaves at 4:45, so I got to be there by 4 probably.
Yep.
So I'm going to be up probably
anyway.
Sleep?
So. You got to work in the morning. Are you going to sleep at all, buddy?
I work in the afternoon. I work in the afternoon, so I'll probably sleep on the train. But yeah. So I mean, we'll be hyped up. You guys know how it is after games. You can't really fall right to sleep afterwards, and so we'll be down for a post game show for sure, and it's going to be a good post game show.
Hopefully, I can play playing sounds like this tomorrow, man.
Oh,
celebrating a little bit and have a big celebration. So, guys, listen, thank you. I'm so glad to see you out there, Sean. And I hope you guys have a fantastic, enjoy the barbell, enjoy the game, bring us home the win. Thank you, everyone in the channel. We'll talk tomorrow night after the game. I'll take the guys about, what do you think, Jake, 30 minutes to get home, fighting through traffic? Or do you know a spot that'll get you to be able to, or are you parking at your,
right at the office?
Yep. Oh, then perfect. All you got to do is you'll be home quick then.
Yeah, we should be pretty quick, I think.
All right,
so
awesome.
I'll keep you posted.
All right. Good night, everyone. And go Bills. Let's get the win tomorrow. We need this.
Heck yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Go Bills.